first thought I had after my best friend broke up with me was, don't you want to grow old with the person who taught you to put in a tampon? We had met when we were 10, became best friends when we were 16. We went from being the daughters of immigrant mothers who knew that nothing goes in that hole until there's a wedding ring on your finger, to becoming people who chose professions and paths outside our parents' expectations. And in the immigrant household I was raised in, I had learned that friendship is a lifelong expectation, because friendship is synonymous with liberation. The fabric of my family was fractured by genocide 3 days after I was born, and our people scattered across the globe. As the years passed, I watched my parents reunite and melt into the embrace of friends they had not seen in 10, 15, sometimes 30 years. I come from a culture where it is common to hear that your cousins, neighbors, brother-in-laws, best friend's daughter's family was coming to your neck of the woods, and could you watch over them for a few days? You would bring them into your home, make sure that they were fed, and when it was time to sleep, they'd get the big bed and everybody else would be in sleeping bags or on the couch. Friendship was a resource that was generationally tended, and that was how we made sure we were held. And then my best friend broke my heart, and it altered my vision of possibility. Today, I stand in a room of people who presumably hold similar values to me. Values of community care, freedom, and equality. But I will bet most people in here have been on one side or the other of a tampon breakup story. So what does that say about our ability to tend to each other consistently and collectively? There are a few lessons this experience taught me. Lessons that are about friendship, and lessons that are about love, liberation, and our right to dream. The first is that letting people choose a path that is right for them is key to finding a path that is right for us. My best friend and I didn't have some big blowout. We simply became people who no longer fit into each other's lives. And after 26 years together, my best friend did not want to have a conversation about why we had drifted apart or how we could come back together. She did not. And I kept thinking she should want to, she should want to, she should. But she didn't. That wasn't the way she wanted to love me. And love is a choice, even when it's the choice to call an end to our time together. We choose how we show up for each other. We choose how we protect each other. We choose how we are with each other. When it comes to building a world we want to live in, a world where we feel safe, you may have a completely different idea of how to get there than I do. And I can condemn your choices, or I can choose to re-envision possibility. Maybe there are more ways to get free than what I think or what I know. And even if, after all my envisioning, I still think your choice is dead wrong, one thing I know is that freedom for me will never be about shoulding or shaming someone into making the right decision. Liberation will be about creating spaces where collectively we are able to choose differently. The second one is a bit of a tough one to take in. It's knowing that peace won't always be found by looking for the answers, because sometimes the answers are not looking to be found. In the weeks and months after our breakup, I scoured the internet for reasons as to why this had happened. Google was my god. You know. I read a story on Reddit from a woman who shared that her best friend of 24 years had stopped talking to her cold turkey. When I read that story, I inhaled sharply. And as I released, I thought, it's not just me. As I read more stories, it occurred to me this is a thing that happens. I don't know why it happens, but I understood that it was not fundamentally because of who I am, and I understood that I was not alone. I don't know why systems of oppression exist in our society, why genocides are documented on social media by 24-year-olds. I don't know what rupture happened in our collective soul that introduced a loathing of fat bodies, queer bodies, disabled bodies into our way of being. What I know is that there is more context to what is happening than what one person in one lifetime could ever possibly know. What I know is that what is happening is not because of who we are, and what I know is that we are not alone. Around the time my best friend broke up with me, I experienced a constellation of other friend breakups, which, as I've learned, is how it often goes. One of these friends became a non-friend in 2018. In 2021, I texted them, "I miss you." They wrote back, and slowly, cautiously, warily, we got on a call with each other. We were clear that there were no expectations of going back to the friendship we'd once had. We lived nowhere near each other and had no real reason to re-engage. But here we are 2 years later. We are back in each other's lives with a rhythm that feels fluid and easy. They're getting ready to get pregnant, so sometime in the next year, I expect to receive news about my new nibbling. I'm gonna pause here and invite everybody to take a breath with me. Because lesson number 3 about love, liberation, and our right to dream is to remember that even when things feel like a loss, they can become a win. Thank you.